Get them out of my house! Leave right now!
The billionaire heard the words that stopped everyone cold. "Throw her out!" his fiancée shouted without mercy. The frightened maid stood near the front door, holding back tears. Her little boy clung tightly to her shaking hand. Two security guards stepped closer, waiting for their next order. Then something unexpected happened. The 6-year-old boy walked straight toward the billionaire. He held out a small, sealed envelope with both hands. "My mommy said, only give this to you if we had to leave." The billionaire stared at the envelope without moving. His heart suddenly felt heavier than before. He slowly reached for it. Just before opening it, his eyes met the maid's. She quietly lowered her head. 24 hours earlier. Caleb Morgan was 35 years old, a successful real estate billionaire living in a beautiful estate outside Savannah, Georgia. He had built his company through years of hard work and honest business. Money had changed his life, but it had never changed his heart. Every morning, Caleb greeted every employee by name. He thanked the cooks after breakfast every day. He always asked the gardeners about their families. When an elderly driver became sick, Caleb quietly paid every hospital bill without telling anyone. The staff respected him because his kindness felt real. Working inside the mansion was Elena Cruz, a 30-year-old housemaid. She had worked there for almost 3 years after losing her husband in a construction accident. Her greatest reason for living was her 6-year-old son, Liam. Liam was quiet, polite, and surprisingly thoughtful for his age. Every afternoon, he waited inside the servant's kitchen while his mother finished work. Sometimes he helped fold clean towels. Sometimes he colored pictures while smiling beside her. Caleb often stopped to speak with the little boy. "What are you drawing today?" Caleb asked one afternoon. "A lighthouse," Liam answered proudly. "Maybe one day I'll build real ones." Caleb smiled warmly. "I believe you will." The boy never forgot those encouraging words. Everything inside the mansion seemed peaceful. At least, that was how it appeared. Caleb was preparing for his upcoming wedding. His fiancée, Victoria Lang, looked graceful wherever she went. She smiled beautifully during charity dinners. She spoke kindly whenever cameras surrounded her. Guests admired her elegance. Newspapers called them the perfect couple. Only the household staff knew another side existed. Whenever Caleb left for work, Victoria's smile disappeared. Her voice became cold. Her patience completely vanished. She complained about everything. She criticized meals before tasting them. She insulted employees over tiny mistakes. She reminded everyone that soon the mansion would belong to her. Nobody dared answer back, especially not Elena. Victoria seemed to enjoy watching the maid become nervous. One morning, she deliberately dropped an expensive glass vase onto the marble floor. The loud crash echoed through the hallway. Victoria immediately pointed toward Elena. "You broke it." Elena looked shocked. "I wasn't even near it, Miss Victoria." Victoria folded her arms. "Are you calling me a liar?" Elena lowered her eyes. "No, ma'am." That afternoon, Victoria deducted the cost from Elena's salary. Liam quietly watched his mother's sad face during dinner. He pushed half his sandwich toward her. "You eat, Mommy." Elena forced a smile. "I'm not hungry." The little boy knew she was lying. The next week became even worse. Victoria threw away fresh food prepared for the staff. She ordered everyone to work longer hours. She constantly reminded Elena that poor people should be grateful for any job. One rainy afternoon, Liam accidentally left his small backpack near the hallway. Victoria picked it up with 2 fingers. What ugly little thing. Before anyone could stop her, she tossed it into a trash bin. Liam rushed forward. "My school books!" Victoria looked down without caring, then learned to keep your junk away. Elena quietly retrieved the backpack after Victoria walked away. She wiped mud from the notebooks while Liam fought back tears. Caleb noticed something changing inside the house. The cheerful conversations had almost disappeared. Employees suddenly became silent whenever Victoria entered a room. Elena no longer laughed with the kitchen staff. Liam stopped showing Caleb his drawings. One evening, Caleb found the little boy sitting alone beside the garden fountain. His drawing book rested unopened across his knees. "Everything all right, buddy?" Caleb asked gently. Liam nodded too quickly. "Yes, sir." The answer sounded practiced, not honest. Caleb sat beside him for several minutes. Neither of them spoke. As they stood to leave, Caleb noticed fresh scratches across Liam's small backpack. He remembered it looking new only days earlier. Something inside him felt uneasy. Later that night, Caleb walked through the kitchen. He heard Victoria speaking sharply behind the pantry door. "You'll do exactly as I say," Elena answered softly. "Please, I already cleaned everything." "You don't decide when you're finished." Caleb stopped walking. He almost entered the pantry. Instead, his phone rang with an urgent business call. By the time he returned, the room stood completely empty. The uneasy feeling stayed with him. The following morning, Caleb quietly asked the house manager whether everything was all right. The manager hesitated, then forced a smile. "Everything is fine, sir." The answer came far too quickly. Caleb began paying closer attention. Small details started connecting together. Elena always wore long sleeves now. Liam smiled less every day. Several employees avoided looking directly at Victoria. Someone was hiding something. Caleb just didn't know what. That same evening, Elena sat alone inside her small room. She opened a notebook. Slowly, she began writing every painful memory. Each insult, each threat, each unfair punishment. She carefully wrote dates beside every incident. Then she added the names of employees who had quietly witnessed everything. Finally, she wrote one heartbreaking sentence. "I stayed because my son finally felt safe here." She folded the pages carefully, placed them inside a large envelope, then sealed it tightly. Liam watched from his bed. "What is it, Mommy?" Elena knelt beside him. "If something bad happens someday, promise me something." The little boy nodded. She placed the envelope into his small hands. "If we're ever forced to leave this house..." She paused before continuing. "Only give this to Mr. Morgan." Liam looked at the envelope carefully. "I promise." Neither of them realized that Victoria had quietly walked past the half-open door just moments earlier. She hadn't heard every word, but she had heard enough to become very dangerous. The next morning, Victoria woke earlier than everyone else. She had spent the entire night thinking. Someone inside the mansion was becoming a threat. She believed that someone was Elena. Victoria smiled to herself. "If she wants to ruin my future," she whispered, "I'll ruin hers first." Before breakfast, Victoria quietly entered the servants' hallway. She carried a small velvet jewelry box. Inside rested a diamond bracelet Caleb had given her months before. She slipped into the laundry room. No one saw her. She opened Elena's cleaning cabinet. Carefully, she hid the bracelet beneath a stack of folded towels. Then she walked away without leaving a trace. An hour later, her scream echoed across the mansion. "My bracelet!" Everyone rushed toward the living room. Victoria looked terrified. "My diamond bracelet is gone." Caleb immediately stood. "When did you last wear it?" "Last night," Victoria answered quickly. "It disappeared this morning." The house manager gathered every employee. No one spoke. Victoria looked directly at Elena. "I think someone should search her room." The room suddenly became silent. Elena looked stunned. "I would never steal anything." Victoria crossed her arms. "Then you have nothing to fear." Caleb frowned. "There should be evidence before accusing anyone." Victoria stepped closer. "Or are you protecting her?" Caleb looked uncomfortable. He hated unfair accusations. Still, he agreed the staff quarters should be searched. The house manager slowly entered Elena's room. Minutes later, he returned carrying the bracelet. His face looked pale. "I found it inside the laundry cabinet." Gas filled the hallway. Elena shook her head desperately. "No, I didn't put it there." Victoria acted heartbroken. "I trusted you." Tears filled Elena's eyes. "I swear I didn't steal anything." Nobody answered. Several employees lowered their heads. They wanted to defend her. Fear kept them silent. Liam grabbed his mother's hand tightly. "Mommy didn't take it." Victoria looked down coldly. "Children don't understand grown-up lies." Those words cut deeply. Caleb watched everyone carefully. Something felt wrong. Elena looked shocked instead of guilty. Liam's frightened face seemed painfully honest. Even the employees looked uncomfortable. Still, the bracelet had been found. The evidence seemed impossible to ignore. Victoria spoke firmly. "A thief cannot stay inside this house." She turned toward security. "Throw her out." The guards hesitated. They looked toward Caleb. He remained silent for several seconds. Finally, he nodded slowly. "I'll personally review everything later." Elena quietly closed her eyes. She understood. Sometimes the truth loses before it wins. She packed her few belongings into one small suitcase. Liam carefully placed his books inside his worn backpack. Neither of them complained. As they reached the front door, Elena knelt before her son. She whispered softly, "Do you remember your promise?" Liam nodded. He reached into his backpack. Carefully, he removed the sealed envelope. Without another word, he walked toward Caleb. "My mommy said, only give this to you if we had to leave." The mansion became completely silent. Caleb accepted the envelope. His hands suddenly felt heavy. He broke the seal. Inside rested several handwritten pages. Every page listed dates. Every page described another act of humiliation, another threat, another punishment, another lie. Attached behind them were photographs. One showed Elena's broken family keepsake. Another showed muddy school books taken from the trash. The final page held a child's drawing. It showed a crying mother, a frightened little boy, and a woman shouting while pointing toward the front gate. Across the top, Liam had written carefully, "Please don't make my mommy cry anymore." Caleb could barely breathe. He looked toward Elena. "Why didn't you tell me?" She lowered her eyes. "I believed nobody would believe a maid." Caleb closed the envelope slowly. Then he spoke calmly. "Nobody leaves?" Victoria's confident smile disappeared. Caleb turned toward security. "Please ask everyone to remain here." Then he quietly left the room. Instead of arguing, Caleb began checking every fact. He reviewed security recordings. He checked hallway cameras. One recording immediately caught his attention. Victoria entered the laundry room early that morning. She carried the same velvet jewelry box. Minutes later, she walked out empty-handed. Caleb watched the recording twice, then a third time. His face hardened. Next, he privately spoke with several employees. Separated from each other, every witness shared the same story. Victoria had bullied Elena for months. She had threatened anyone who defended her. She had frightened the entire household into silence. Everything inside the envelope was true. An hour later, everyone gathered inside the main living room. Victoria stood confidently beside the fireplace. She believed everything had ended. Caleb entered carrying the envelope. His expression remained calm. Too calm. He looked first at Elena, then at Liam. Finally, he faced Victoria. "I know exactly what happened." Victoria forced a smile. "I'm glad you finally understand." "Oh, I do." Caleb picked up the television remote. The security footage appeared across the large screen. Everyone watched silently. Victoria entered the laundry room. She hid the bracelet. She walked away. No one spoke. Victoria's face turned completely white. She tried laughing nervously. This isn't what it looks like," Caleb answered quietly. "It looks exactly like the truth." One by one, employees stepped forward. They finally shared everything they had hidden. Every insult, every threat, every cruel punishment. Victoria looked around desperately. Nobody defended her. She reached for Caleb's hand. "You can't believe them over me." Caleb slowly removed his engagement ring. "I believe honesty." He placed the ring into her hand. "Our engagement ends today." Victoria stood frozen. Security approached quietly. This time Caleb spoke without hesitation. "Escort Miss Lang out of my home." Moments later, the front door closed behind her forever. Silence filled the mansion. Caleb walked toward Elena. "I'm deeply sorry. I saw small signs. I should have looked closer." Elena wiped away quiet tears. "Thank you for finally believing us." Caleb smiled gently at Liam. "You kept your promise." The little boy nodded. "My mommy said good people always tell the truth." Caleb knelt beside him. "Your courage protected someone you love. Never lose that." Over the following months, many things changed. Elena became the household operations manager. Every employee worked without fear. Liam received a scholarship paid entirely by Caleb. The little boy smiled again. One afternoon, Liam handed Caleb another drawing. This one showed the mansion filled with smiling people. Above it, he had written, "Home should always feel safe." Caleb framed the drawing and placed it inside his office. Whenever visitors asked about it, he smiled quietly. Then he shared the story of one brave little boy, because sometimes the strongest evidence is not hidden inside expensive files. Sometimes it arrives inside a simple envelope, carried by small hands that refuse to let the truth disappear. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who still believes kindness and courage can change lives. We would also love to hear your thoughts, so please leave a comment below.